Hello, I'm AD Hobbs, and this is my review of The Blackadder. More specifically, the first season, which is just called The Blackadder. Yeah, there were 4 seasons in total: a Christmas special and a spin-off, Blackadder back and forth. But this review is going to be focused on the first season. Now, my earliest memory of Blackadder, I think I was almost 7, and I saw like half an episode of Blackadder 2. Then I saw all 6 episodes of Blackadder the Third, and then a couple of years after that, I saw Blackadder Goes Forth. So yeah, I got that. Yes, I got the gist of it. Yes, it's a historical comedy. Yeah, and but I got a bit suspicious. We got Blackadder 2, Blackadder 3, Blackadder the Fourth. What's going on here? Well, where's the first one? Where's number 1? And then finally, when I was almost 10, I got what I wanted. Yes, the first season, the Blackadder came out. And I thought, well, why is it they never show this one, but they repeat the other ones lots and lots of times? Well, the reason being is because the first season didn't do very well when it was brand new. And it's always deemed the black sheep of the family, or if you'll forgive the pun, Blackadder, black sheep. But me personally, I think it's very, very good. It's not as good as the other 3 seasons, but it's still quite good nonetheless, yeah. And it explains how it all started, the origin of the character and all that. But no, lots of fans look at this one with scorn, but I don't think it's as bad as all that. It needs a bit of tidying up, but it's okay, yeah. Or put it this way, better than some. The first ever episode, which was like a pilot episode, never shown on television, was made in 1982, and I've seen it on YouTube, and no, it's not very good. The jokes fall flat, and you can't really get into it. The characters are not very memorable. So yeah, they tidied it up a lot, yeah. The first season, written by Rowan Atkinson and Richard Curtis, already had a lot of experience in writing comedy. Oh, and just for the record, Blackadder is a real surname. I assumed it was made up for the show. No, it does exist, yeah. And, basically, in the first ever episode, it says that history is written by the winners. So how do we know it's all 100% accurate? According to Henry Tudor, who later became known as Henry VII, this is what he wrote down. He wrote down there was civil war. Richard III had half the army of England, and Henry VII had half the army, and they fought each other. Henry killed Richard III. Oh no, he didn't kill him. He ran away like a coward. He retreated, yeah. And as a result, Henry Tudor became king until 1509. But according to this version, no, the truth is very different. Richard III was killed, yes, but Richard IV became king and reigned for 13 years, yeah. And then after that, Richard IV was killed and Henry VII became king and rewrote history, made out that he was the king right from the start. Well, that's not true. That's all a lie. Yeah, well, why? Well, because history is written by the winners. And they want you to think that he was always king. There was never a time when I wasn't king, yeah. But on a serious note, something like that did happen in real life. A horse, my kingdom for a horse. That's what Richard said, Richard III, implying I'm a complete coward, I'm going to run away. But the truth is, we found out that no, he didn't run away. His dead body was found on the battlefield centuries later. Oh, so he did die. He died fighting, basically. And his last words were, treachery, treachery, I'm your king. How dare you betray me? You're all traitors, yeah. So why was Richard III made out to be deformed and a total coward and he murdered children? Well, why is that? Why has Shakespeare made him out to be like that? Because the Tudors won and history was written by the winners. Richard III had to be made out to be an evil, horrible man. That justified the Tudor dynasty. That's why they ruled. Yeah, but it's all lies. Yeah. Anyway, in real life, there was a man in the 15th century that called himself Richard IV, but he never officially became king. But in this version of history, this version of the truth, Richard IV did become king. But who then really did kill Richard III? Well, we find out in this version, the first episode of the Blackadder. And Edmund, who wants to go and fight in a battle, and goes with his two... Baldric's his servant. I don't think Percy is his servant. I think he's his equal, yeah. Well, not as powerful as him, but not exactly as... like a high-ranking servant, yeah. Anyway, they all go to fight in the battle. or they're supposed to, Edmund loses his bottle and goes, I've had enough of this, I don't want to fight. Then he stops and ties his horse against a tree, and when he comes back, he finds Richard III is going to get on the horse, because he says, a horse, my kingdom for a horse. He does say that, but for a very different reason. He means, I've won the battle, now I can find a horse to get home. And just as he's about to ride the horse, Edmund says, oi, that's my horse, and chops his head off, without even bothering to find out who it is. And I remember the shock. That's so violent. You can't do that in a sitcom. Certainly not one aimed at a family audience. Well, you can in this one. That's what makes it different, yeah. And I suppose it was justifiable because it's set in the 15th century, hundreds of years ago. That makes it less violent as opposed to if it was set in the present day. And Blackadder, there's nothing else like it. It is the definitive history comedy. Well, actually, that's not true. There have been historical sitcoms before this and after it, but Blackadder's like the definitive one. Whenever you think historical comedy, you think Blackadder, yeah. And he realises he's made a dreadful mistake. He's killed, well, not only one that's on his side, he's killed the king, for heaven's sake. What are they going to do? Anyway, Baldric and Percy help to cover his tracks so nobody knows who really killed him, yeah. And then afterwards, Richard III haunts Edmund. Nobody else can see him, but he can. So this is a pun on Shakespeare, yes. Every now and again, there are little references to Shakespeare, yeah. Anyway, when Richard IV officially becomes the king, Edmund says to his two servants, oh, can you imagine the power? Yes, it's mine, all mine. I have the greatest brain. I'm the finest swordsman, the bravest horseman, yes. I am Prince Edmund, Duke of Edinburgh. Or, as I shall now be called, the Black Vegetable. And his servant says, excuse me, my lord, don't you think something like the Black Adder might sound better? Wait, I've got a better idea. What about the Black Adder? Oh, brilliant idea, my lord. Great. So, there are lots of jokes, lots of gags, but it also has elements of truth. In ancient times, yes, people in power would take full credit for ideas they didn't come up with themselves. You know, don't you think it's a bit suspicious why all the great inventors, the great writers, are always people in positions of power? Yeah, did they genuinely come up with these ideas, or did they just claim they did? Yeah. And then later, we go to a big feast with Richard IV and Edmund's older brother, Harry. And we find out they talk about Henry Tudor. They call him the Pretender. A pretender means person that has no right to claim the throne at all. Edmund realises his mistake. Oh no, and I've invited him into the castle. So he chases after Henry Tudor on a horse. He gets away. Then he sees three witches. So yeah, this is a pun on Macbeth. Yes, another Shakespeare pun. And the three witches say, Edmund, one day, oh glorious day, one day, oh happy day, you will be king. And Edmund's very pleased to hear that and gallops off. After he's gone, the witches say, yes, we promised that he would one day be king, yeah. He wasn't anything like that other bloke we saw, Henry Tudor. Yeah. Oh, so they've just told the wrong person. They're supposed to say that to Henry Tudor, who does become king. Edmund is not destined to become the king at all, although he likes to think he is, yeah. And something that's a running theme in all the episodes, Edmund, yes, whenever he gets into trouble, his two faithful servants, Percy and Baldric, help him get out of the situation. Yes, they work together as a team. So although Edmund insults them and belittles them, because he likes feeling important, he does actually need them. And I think deep down inside, he does like them, yeah. Well, because they need each other to get out of a pickle. The number of times they get into trouble, yeah. And in episode 2, yes, Edmund brutally murders another person. The difference is this time it's on purpose. It's a Scottish man that wants to claim all of his land that belongs to him. He goes, that's not fair. But Edmund is treated really badly because he's just the spare heir. And he goes, well, this isn't good enough, you know. If I wasn't the spare heir, I'd be treated with respect, yeah. And then one day he has this chance to prove his brother is a bastard. He's illegitimate. If that's the case, that makes me next in line. I will be king. Something goes horribly wrong. He finds out the secret letters don't prove his brother is a bastard at all. They prove that he's a bastard. He's illegitimate. So he has to get rid of the evidence so that he can still claim the throne. And of course, why is he called Edmund? because in the Shakespeare play King Lear, an illegitimate man is called Edmund. Yes, that's no coincidence. Yeah, it's a little tributes to Shakespeare dialogue every now and again, yeah. And so yes, there's the witch smeller pursuivant, the plague is coming, so they get the witch smeller to sort it out. Edmund is betrothed to someone he doesn't want to marry. There's another bit when he has to be the archbishop, he doesn't want to do that because they have a very short life expectancy, they keep ending up killed. A lot of killing, yes, but then it is the medieval era. What do you expect? Nobody voted for people in power. You have to kill, basically. All this horrendous stuff going on to get positions of power, a means to an end. Yeah, very, very violent time, yeah. And that's what made it so different from sitcoms that we've done before. And as I said, there's a running theme, yes. Percy, Baldric, and Edmund Blackadder, they get along together, yeah, and he has the symbol of the Blackadder on his clothes. He dresses in black a lot. And he has like a hairstyle like Henry V. Edmund is nothing like as brave or as clever as Henry V, but he likes to think he is, yeah. But the 6th episode is quite different. No, Edmund spends little or no time with Baldric or Percy. No, this episode is quite different. He finds out that he's going to inherit a measly, pathetic, tiny piece of land. And he goes, no, this is not good enough. And he rides off for glory. He has to get the most evilest people in the whole kingdom in order to, more than become the next in line. He wants to be the king, He gets them all in. Something goes horribly wrong. The most evil people in the kingdom betray him. So he's in even more trouble than he was before. Edmund is certainly a gambler, yes. He's very ambitious, wants to make his life far, far better, but the gamble makes his life far, far worse, yeah. Nevertheless, you are rooting for him, yeah. He is the title character, the Blackadder, yeah. He's determined to get what he wants, yeah. And it ends, spoiler alert, ends very sadly, yes. His father finally gets his name right, But, yes, his plan to take over goes horribly wrong, yeah. But, Baldric is quite cleverer than he is in the other ones. Yes, he comes up with some clever ideas. I've got a cunning plan, yeah. So, yes, I think each episode, lots of great gags, partly historical accurate, partly silly jokes, but yeah, and it made me show an interest in history. Yeah, yes, it makes history in terms that you can understand, yeah. And, I think the thing that sums it all up is, Edmund Blackadder, is he a goodie or a baddie? Because does he have any right to take over the kingdom? But then did the king before that have any right to take over? So, I guess you just make up your own mind and say that he's mischievous, but at the same time you're rooting for him. Yes, a very ambitious character. And yes, I think this paved the way for the definitive historical comedy. And I didn't know that Henry Tudor, that was his original name, Henry VII. Yeah, so yes, I learnt stuff from it as well. It was educational and entertaining. Okay, that'll do for now. So, The Blackadder, the first season, is not as bad as people make out, so I'd give it a shot. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.